Back in 1910, an enterprising baker whose shop was right on the route of a famous bicycle race that went from Paris to Brest and back to Paris invented a dessert in honor of the cyclists. Now, he made it in the shape of a bicycle tire, complete with an inner tube, which was a relatively new invention at the time. He named it the Paris-Brest, and today Bridget's bringing it to the test kitchen.
This is going to taste a whole lot better than a bicycle tire.
Thank goodness.
This is so good. It's one of my favorite desserts because it's not too sweet.
Oh, that's what I like too.
Yeah, so it starts with a pâte à choux or a choux pastry, so it's got a little bit of crunch and a lot of flavor. Now, this is 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and this is a cooked dough, which is really what sets it apart from so many other doughs. It's leavened by steam. I've got ½ a cup of whole milk. Now, we're not using all whole milk, we're using some water. This is a 1/3 cup of water because we found that the fat in the whole milk made it a little too tender. It has to have some support. This is 2 3/4 teaspoons of granulated sugar and 3/4 teaspoon of table salt. To set this over medium heat, give it a quick stir just to get the butter submerged in the liquid, and we're going to bring that up to a simmer. In the meantime, this is 4 whole eggs. We want a specific amount. We want 1 cup of beaten eggs. So sometimes you'll find 4 eggs is over a cup. You'll just want to pour off any excess. If it's under a cup, you can add a little bit of white in there. But we're just giving it a good beating here. Let's just check and see if this is coming up to a simmer. That is good. All right, all the butter's melted. I'm going to slide this off heat. And I'm going to add our flour. This is 5 ounces or a cup of all-purpose flour. So I'm going to stir in all this flour just to make sure that it's absorbed here. And I want to make sure that it's not sticking to the sides. Just getting this to form a paste. And I'll put it back over the heat, but I do want to lower this down to low. We're going to cook this for about 3 minutes. And as you mentioned, the heating really is magic. If you think about choux pastry, it has to fill with air. So it has to trap in that air and that steam in the oven. And so what the heating does is it forms a tighter matrix or network. So it's really going to trap that steam inside. That is looking good. Starting to get a little bit shiny. I can feel it starting to stick to the bottom. Let's take this off heat. And now I'm going to move over to my food processor. We're going to use the food processor to cool this down. So I'll let it run for about 30 seconds. It's just cooling it down a lot quicker than it would just sitting here at room temp. All right, so now we're going to add the eggs. I'm going to turn the machine back on. We'll add the eggs in a steady stream. Again, that was 4 eggs that we beat. We're going to let this go for about another minute, and this will all come together into our pâte à choux. I think this looks pretty good. It's nice and smooth, a little bit creamy. All right, so now the fun part. We get to create a bicycle built for 2. All right, a little craft work here. Got 2 sheet pans. I sprayed the sheet pans with a little bit of kitchen spray and then took a piece of parchment, an 8-inch cake pan right on top, traced an 8-inch circle, and then put that side down. You can just see it through the parchment. This is our template. We're going to create an actual tire and then an inner tube because that's more traditional, and also that inner tube makes for a better structure. So we're going to fill up this bag. Now this bag has been fitted with a 3/8 inch plain tip. Anytime that I'm filling a bag, to make sure that it doesn't go through, I like to just twist it and put that in there.
I've never done that. That's clever.
And then you can start to fill it. All right, so about 3/4 cup of the mixture. You can add a little too much, that's fine. You don't want to under add because you don't want to break the tire as you're moving it along, so that looks about right. And then as it gets down there, I can start to open that bottom. So I'm going to fold this over to make sure it doesn't come back up. I'm holding the top of it. That's really where I'm squeezing, is up here. A lot of people will squeeze from down here. That's a good way to make sure that it shoots back up on you. So now this is the inner tube. So I want to trace right on this 8-inch ring so that it will sit right inside the bigger one. This is not going to be fancy, and it's good that we're doing this first because it's a little bit of practice by the time you get to the fancy outer ring, which is what people are going to see. So just a steady hand. I'm going right on that line there. To the end.
Nicely
like
done.
All right, so now we're going to do the outer ring. We're going to fill the bag with more of the pâte à choux, and this is a 1/2 inch star tip. So this one, we're going to pipe our first line right on the inside of that line. It's okay to take your time here, and then when you start to get to the end, you just lighten up on this top squeezer. So now I'm going to do another ring right on the outside, but I don't want to start here. I want to start my start point at another location so it doesn't look too obvious where I started. So this looks like a good little place because that way I can kind of mask that little marring. So again, this goes right on the outside. It's captivating, isn't it?
It is.
So once this is all baked, it's still gonna have those beautiful ridges. Now I want to do a third ring on top of these two to add a little bit of height. And again, I'm gonna start my seam somewhere else, just right over that seam. So that looks great. Now, one more flourish for this outer tube. A few hazelnuts here. This is 2 tablespoons of toasted and chopped, also skinned hazelnuts. We're adding them just to this outer tube. So this is going to bake, both of them, in the same 400-degree oven. We're going to place the smaller tube on the lower middle rack, and then this bigger tube on the upper middle rack. And this upper middle rack sheet is going to protect the one down below. We wanted to prevent this smaller ring from overbaking. So we're gonna leave them in there until this smaller ring gets nice and brown. That's gonna take anywhere between 22 to 26 minutes. All right.
Ooh.
Now I'm gonna take out this smaller tube here. Now if you wouldn't mind turning the oven down to 350 for me.
You got it.
Just moving this onto a wire rack. We're gonna let this cool, and this is pretty much done, but we wanna let the larger tire stay in there for another 10 minutes.
That's
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. All right, would you mind turning the oven off this time completely? The good thing about cooking your dough before you bake it is that it traps all the steam inside. The bad thing is that it traps all the steam inside. It's never going to get out. And we need some of that steam to escape. So I'm going to take a little paring knife and just cut a few slits, just about 3/4 inch wide. Just force you to do it. Now this is going to go back into that oven for another 45 minutes. And after that, I'll move it to a wire rack and let it cool completely. Now, if you could put the spoon in the door just to catch it, we just want to dry out the surface a little bit, make it super crisp. All right, so now we get to make our next component while that tire is drying out in the oven. It's our praline pastry cream. Before we get to the pastry cream, we got to make the praline though. So this is a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, along with a teaspoon of lemon juice. That little bit of acid is great. It breaks down the sugars and it helps them to brown quicker. This is over medium heat, and we can start to see some of those bubbles around the outside. And we're going to let this bubble away for about 10 to 15 minutes until all of this turns a really nice, deep caramel color. All right, that is a beautiful golden kind of amber color.
Yeah, you can smell it too.
We want to get it off the burner because we don't want it to color anymore. And now I'm going to add in a cup of hazelnuts. Now these were toasted and skinned. I'm just really trying to get them coated. Oh,
Goodness.
exactly. And now we're going to pour them out onto a sheet pan. I've got this lined with parchment that I've greased to make it easier later on.
Candied hazelnuts.
I know, crazy. All right, I'm gonna press these out into a single layer. I'm gonna put this on a wire rack so that they cool completely. That's gonna take about 30 minutes. It has been a long half hour, but you can see this is all nice and cooled. Otherwise, my finger would have melted. So now we want to break this up into smaller pieces so that we can turn it into our praline cream. I like to use a knife and just cut it into smaller pieces, about 1 inch or 2 inches. Put these into the food processor. I'm going to let this go for about 30 seconds until it's well processed and a little bit sandy. All right, let's take a look in there. It's almost the texture of graham cracker crumbs.
Oh, it smells so good.
And then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, salted caramel, always a good idea, and a tablespoon of vegetable oil. We're going to continue to process this until it forms a paste, and that's going to take about 1 to 2 minutes. All right, let's take a look. It's a little bit like natural peanut butter at this point. It's a little bit sandy, but you see I press it, and it's definitely a paste. I just want to cover this bowl. We're going to set this aside. We're done with the hazelnut paste for now.
Okay.
On to the pastry cream.
All right.
We have here a 1/4 cup of water and 2 teaspoons of unflavored gelatin. Just sprinkle that right on top and let the gelatin soften for about 5 minutes before we heat it. That way we don't get any of those little rubbery balls in the final pastry cream. All right, on to the cream part of the pastry cream. This is 1½ cups of 1/2 and 1/2. On medium heat, we just want it to come up to a boil. In the meantime, I've got 5 egg yolks here. These are large eggs. Now we've got a 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. I'll whisk this together. And now we need a thickener. This is 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. It can withstand heating. It's not going to continually break. And it can withstand over whisking, which I am apt to do. So just whisking this until it's nice and smooth, getting out any lumps at this point. Now we're going to add this to our egg mixture, just about a half cup of that. And if you could hold the bowl for me, that would be great. So we're just adding a little bit directly to the egg yolks to temper them, bring them up to temperature so that we don't get a fancy French scrambled eggs. And then this mixture is going to go back into the rest of that half and half. All right, just like that. So this is going to go back now on medium heat, just for a couple of minutes. Really at this point, we want to look for it to start to thicken, but we're going to take this whole process very slowly. All right, so it's thickened up just a little bit, and it really is more of a feeling thing.
Yeah, it doesn't look much different.
No, it's getting close to something like a creme anglaise or eggnog. So now I'm going to turn the heat down, and we're really going to slow this process down. I'm going to whisk it constantly and then cook this for about 8 minutes. And what that's doing is it's ensuring that the flour completely thickens. It completely gets hydrated. So 8 minutes while I contemplate life and whisk away. All right, so this is really starting to thicken. It's looking nice, but now we're going to turn the heat back up to medium. And this should go pretty fast, about 1 to 2 minutes. This is starting to really thicken up.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so I'm going to take this off heat and whisk in some butter, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We cut that into 3 pieces, whisk that in. That's going to loosen this as well. I'm also going to add in 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract and our gelatin mixture. So again, that was the 2 teaspoons of gelatin that were soaked in a 1/4 cup of water.
So you have 3 thickeners in here. You have the yolks, you have the flour, and you have the gelatin. So this is gonna set up.
It sure is, and that little bit of butter is gonna help too. So that looks good, all that butter is melted. So now we're going to put this through a fine mesh sieve over a larger bowl, and I'll just press that through.
Silky smooth.
Beautiful. All right. I do want to cover it. This is just a little piece of parchment that we've sprayed with cooking spray. Press it on the surface, that way it doesn't get any of that pudding skin that nobody wants. This is going to go into the fridge to chill about 45 minutes. We don't want to leave it any longer than that because it'll set up too much. So 45 minutes just to chill. We're near the finish line of our bicycle race. So we're going to whip some cream to add to our pastry cream. This is 1 cup of heavy cream into our standing mixer. Now I'm going to turn this to low and let it go until it's a little bit foamy. Then I'll crank it up to high, let it go until it goes to soft peaks. That's about another 1 to 3 minutes. At this point, I like to do the rest by hand. All right, so this is looking pretty good.
Beautiful.
You can see it's just got that little bit of curl. All right, so now our praline paste goes right into our pastry cream that is very well set and chilled. Just going to whisk this in. We don't need to be delicate at this point. Again, we use flour, so we don't have to worry about over whisking. And we're not trying to keep anything from deflating. That's why we're adding the whipped cream in just a second. All right, so now I'm going to add half of this whipped cream. Go ahead and whisk this in. This is just to lighten it up. Don't want to go too crazy here, but.
Oh my goodness.
All right, the rest of the cream goes in, and now I'm going to fold it in a little bit more gently. All right, I want to get any last streaks of white whipped cream incorporated. That is looking pretty good. So now, plastic goes back on top, and this is going to go into the fridge to become fully set. 3 hours minimum, up to 24 hours. Do you see it off into the distance? It's the finish line, Julia.
Ah, right.
We're there. All right, remember this was left in the oven while the oven was turned off for 45 minutes, and then I cooled it for a good 15 minutes. You don't want to fill this while it's hot, or you'll have hazelnut soup. So now we need to split this in half. So I'm going to take a serrated knife, and I just want to go where the slope really meets the bottom here.
All right.
Now I'm going to go around. Serrated knife is definitely the way to go. You would not want to do this with a regular knife. All right, make sure it's all the way clean through. There we go. And we're going to move this top right there. And you can see inside, it's a little bit shiny. That's how those starches gelatinized.
Beautiful.
Go right onto our serving plate. And now we get to fill this. So I went ahead and moved that hazelnut pastry cream to a bag. And again, we've got that 1/2-inch star tip. So we're going to use this first to create a little bed of cream. And no one's going to see this little bed of cream.
So this is still chilled at this point?
Very cold, yes. And you can see the texture of it. It's very set as well. So I'm going to do a little zigzag pattern, and this is going to be our delicious anchor for our inner tube. I'm not going all the way to the edges, just really down the center. All right, and now the inner tube. See how it fits right there.
So it provides support, but also gives it a little lift.
Exactly. And now we have to cover up the inner tube with more of our hazelnut pastry cream. I'm going to do a zigzag just to cover it all up. And this is what you're really going to start to see.
That looks really cool.
And as I get to the edges, I'm just letting that pastry cream fall out of the star tip. Just keep moving the platter. How's that?
That is beautiful.
All right. So this top layer is pretty delicate, so I want to carefully place it on top. I'm just going to gently press it right in. Just a little bit, don't want to smush it. We have to do one last step, and that is the snowfall of confectioner's sugar. Right through a little sieve, a beautiful showering, just enough to really show a craggy surface, hide any flaws. This serves 8 to 10 people.
So serving it with a serrated knife is obviously key.
Yes, just to get through that crisp surface on the outside without doing too much squishing. All right. Can you see the little inner tube here?
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. This is a masterpiece.
I can't wait for you to taste it, because how many desserts do you get and they're just absolutely gorgeous and you put them in your mouth and you're like, oh, that's nice.
Wow. That's amazing. It's not too sweet, and it's nutty with the caramel flavor of that praline.
I love the crisp top of the pâte à choux as well.
Oh my goodness. The pâte à choux is the perfect foil for that rich praline pastry cream. And I love that it's not just a thick pastry cream, it's lightened with a little of the whipped cream, so it's not super dense and heavy. Oh, Bridget, you've outdone yourself. So if you want to make this classic French dessert, start by making pâte à choux. Heat butter, milk, and water on the stove, then stir in flour and cook the dough. Add the eggs to the dough in the food processor, then pipe the mixture out into 2 rings and sprinkle with hazelnuts and bake. Be sure to let that top pastry dry out in the oven, but prop it open with a wooden spoon. For the filling, make a simple praline and combine with pastry cream and whipped cream. Finally, assemble the dessert and be sure to take a minute to admire it before digging in. From America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, a gold medal recipe for Paris-Brest.
First place?
Killer. Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.